Hello, Cancer. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Cancer is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Cancer, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And a 10 of Swords. Interesting. I wonder if there has... I kind of feel like this card sometimes is us finishing a meal, you know? Finishing something and kind of pulling all of the experience out of it that we could, you know? That we have been through something very significant and it's concluded, and we've thought about it and considered it, we've felt it, we've nourished ourselves on it, and it's kind of like we've picked our plate clean. And now what do? Well, now we just got to throw the container, or recycle the container, wash the dishes or whatever, you know? Kind of reset, recycle. Okay? So I feel like for you, this is really... I feel like you're about to embark on the next thing. This is someone who has finished their meal in a restaurant. They've got the toothpick in the teeth, and then they just kind of say, they pay the bill and they say, okay. And they push their chair out and they stand up. Where are we going? That's where we're at now, right? What's the next thing? Where do we go from here? When you stand up and you pay the bill, you stand up to leave the restaurant, where do you go? You maybe use the restroom afterwards. That's what I would probably do. We go wash our hands or something, or we go out to the car, or we just go outside and we just kind of maybe we go look for a little ice cream shop or something. You know, maybe go into a department store. We go shopping, or we just go to the car. We drive home. You know, maybe we check our phone. We make some phone calls. All sorts of ideas, right? All sorts of things. It's just. You know, you're somebody who is okay with being done with the meal and getting up and walking out. And maybe we're still saying, oh boy, that was good. Oh, I really enjoyed that. Or, you know, oh, I thought maybe the potatoes were a little bit undercooked or something, you know. We kind of can critique this past experience a little bit. But I feel like you don't really do that. I feel like when something's done, when you've paid the check, you've stood up and you've walked out, that's it, you know? I feel like you have an energy right now that really is able to let things go. And we're not looking so much at the past, right? Because you've already kind of picked those bones clean. You've already, you know, gotten everything out of that you could. And so now it's just a matter of kind of just, you know, either cleaning up the mess yourself or getting up and leaving the restaurant, you know? So I feel like you're maybe in some kind of a liminal state right now. We're kind of in between these big events in our life, in our day, you know. So let's put this card into some context. What is it that we're maybe getting away from? Or how do we feel about this ending, right? This transition? Well, it's a 5 of Pentacles. So I feel like this is, usually this is a card of worry. Okay? But I feel like this is literally you getting up and walking towards something else, literally getting up and leaving the restaurant, or this is you literally cleaning up the dishes, you know. It's not our favorite part of the meal, of the experience, is kind of the aftermath, or the clearing of the plate, the clearing of the table to be ready for what comes next. You know, when you're cleaning up the dishes, you're not still picking at the food. No, you're already full, already nourished. I've already learned everything I could from that experience. And so now it's just a matter of pushing everything off and cleaning up the place for the next event, the next thing, the next adventure maybe. So I feel like your life is changing, and I feel like this is really just, it's the transitional period. This is the period in between stability and the next stability, the next focus and the previous focus, right? This is the change in between. It's the turning over of the table, right? Isn't that what they call it in the food industry, where you turn the table? I think I don't know what it's called, but this is that moment in between. This is where we kind of clear it off and we reset and ready to start again. Okay, so you're in a transitional state. I feel like, and I feel like right now we don't really feel much of anything about it. We've already felt the things. We've already learned the things. I've already experienced that. So now it's just kind of this very practical thing where, it's almost like it's business. This is what I got to do. I've got to make this transition from the old thing to now the next thing. I wonder what the next thing's going to be. Well, first we got to look at what's beneath the surface, Wheel of Fortune. Very nice. You're somebody who has a strong sense of your own destiny. You've got a strong sense, and maybe that's why there's a little bit of detachment. Maybe that's why we've yet to see any kind of emotional energy, because there's just a peace. There's no disturbance in the force, There's no disturbance in the emotional state, because there's this. It's kind of like we think of it with metaphysical energy or even physical energy, that there's only. You're only aware of it if there's any kind of disruption or dis-ease, right? It's the squeaky wheel that gets the grease, yeah. So in other words, if things are running smoothly and efficiently, you're not even going to notice, You're not going to hear it. It's not going to be acting up. It's not going to be rattling or shaking or making a noise that okay, I know I've got to do something there. It's in this kind of perfect harmony where, everything just feels like a nice, gentle hum. So I feel like you are kind of in this mode of really just doing everything according to your spiritual guidance, according to the divine plan. Everything seems to be falling in place very much for you right now. I think you have a strong sense of your life getting better and better and better. Things are expanding. The Jupiter energy is here, Wheel of Fortune. This is talking about wealth and riches and prosperity and abundance. It's a card that is indicating that you have this idea of a larger plan or a larger picture in life. And each of these 10 of Swords and the 5 of Pentacles that comes after, each of those is just kind of one step on the path. And there's no turmoil, there's no conflict. It's just next step up. Clear the plate, reset, I go up one more time, And so everything feels like it's happening the way it's supposed to, and there's not a lot of commotion going on. And this, I think, is feeling really good. This card's also telling me that you're destined for some sort of like fortune and glory. I've got like a real achievement, a real kind of, you're doing something big, right? Let's see what this past segment of things was for you. A 2 of Swords. Well, first of all, you're being led in this process of beginning and ending, beginning and ending, beginning and ending. You're being led through this by your intuition. And that, I think, is really perfect. I think you just went through there was a decision to go a certain way, because I kind of feel with the 2 of Swords that it wasn't an easy decision that you made recently. That you chose you were taking a risk on something, or like your body or your mind or your heart just didn't really want to do it, but it's my destiny, like I have to. And that's, I think, a way in our conscious mind that we deal with our fate and our destiny and that kind of intuition and spiritual guidance. It doesn't mean just because you're following the spiritual plan, you're following the divine light, you're following spirit, you're following your intuition, it doesn't mean that your mind is always going to be like, yeah. A lot of the time our mind says, ugh, I don't want to do it, because I think in some ways the path that you're on is kind of going against your nature in a way. When we think of a Cancer person, I think that, we kind of like to be behind the scenes. We like to kind of be at home. We like to be not really noticed all that well. You don't want to put yourself out in the excitement and in the drama and in the limelight, so to speak. So I feel like it's kind of this was a decision of like either stay home or go out, And it seems like you went out. Well, maybe it was to a restaurant. But I feel like following your destiny, following this Wheel of Fortune, if we really want this Wheel of Fortune manifesting, I feel like this is in you. That this is kind of bringing out a certain part of you that isn't really on the surface. It's not really who we are day to day, right? It's causing you to put yourself into some uncomfortable energies. Bringing out these things in yourself that I like them to be kind of under the surface. So it's really challenging your kind of like day-to-day persona. It's bringing out these different qualities in you. But I think that's a good thing. Let's see what that might be referring to. Another card here is the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords, in contraposition to the Wheel of Fortune. If we don't follow our destiny, the consequences. Okay, the Three of Swords up here. This is memory, and I think that what it's a memory of is any time that you have not followed your intuition or have not followed spirit, not followed your will, whatever you want to call it, the divine plan. Any time that you've not listened to the Wheel of Fortune, it's been a disaster. A lot of lessons have been learned. And you remember, you're not going to forget what it's like. So it's kind of like you stay on your spiritual path, even when you don't want to, even when your body's tired, even when it's just kind of feels like maybe it's starting to just become routine, Because the consequences. If you get off that, and maybe this has to do with your spiritual practice, maybe this has to do with going against like the signs and the synchronicities that you see, going against your intuition, going against your will or your aspiration, leads to sorrow and heartbreak and loss. It's kind of like you don't want to go to the gym today. I'm tired. I don't want to go. I'm sore. It's too late in the day. It's just, I don't want to do it. But if you don't, it's going to be even worse. If you don't, then there are more significant consequences. There's more of like a long-term consequence, right? So we think, well, I could either kind of slack off today, or I can just stick it out today. I can power through it, and it's going to be so much better for me tomorrow and in the future, So I feel like you're kind of a reluctant hero, Let's do another card here to finish off the Path of the Dove. We've got the Hierophant. Yeah, you're. I kind of feel like you're an authority of something. You're the only one that can help, really, right? You're the one that has to do this. But maybe that Cancerian part of us really doesn't want to. I just really want to stay home. I feel like you're a private person. I feel like you don't have a extreme social life. You've got your friends and stuff, but you're very private. I feel like you like staying home. You like being in your robe and reading a book and sitting by the fire, But it's almost like that you're not allowed to resist the call to adventure. You're not allowed to resist the call on this spiritual quest, which leads you into places that, hey, if I just had my lazy way about it, I would just be chilling at home, eating ice cream, reading books, and just, that'd be my thing, right? But that you can't say no to, when spirit calls, when spirit knocks, it's like you've got to answer, okay? Because I feel like you're being led by your higher self. And very often, our higher self, our true self, right, the spirit, the divine kind of entity within us, doesn't always care about our physical comfort. Doesn't care that you didn't get a lot of sleep last night and we're just kind of tired and I got a bit of a headache. No, this is This is the will. This is what your spiritual self is kind of dictating to you in a way, you know. And I feel like we have a certain, again, it's that reluctant kind of hero energy. We know that we're the only one that can save the day, but here we go again. And we have to go out and we have to follow this path. And I don't know what exactly, I don't know what exactly your path is. I know that you're becoming the hierophant. Okay, this is where all of this is kind of leading toward. If we see the kind of the reluctance, we see that we are just kind of, in this very detached way, we are taking care of these things, we're finishing these tasks, these quests, and then we're just kind of clearing the table and we're preparing for the next one. I feel like you're working your way up to something. You know, and if we think of this as someone in the kitchen, you know, you're starting as the line cook and you're just kind of going through day to day, and then you know that you just got to go home and shower and you got to go back again the next day and do it again. But you're working your way up to really becoming a master, to really having that experience of, you know, becoming the boss or becoming the executive chef. And so it really could be talking about a business thing with you. It is something that is... it's something that is productive in a way, right? It is something, it's some activity that you're doing outside of yourself, right? You're interacting with the world in some way. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Way Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. It's going to go right here. Alien Simon Mork Ripley right there on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end. But it will tie everything together and it will give us our confirmation. And if you have a prediction for that card, put it in the comments. All right, let's see what we come up with. We're going to talk about the path of the serpent now, just a few more cards left. And as we do this, I would like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It's free, doesn't cost anything. It really does help out the channel, and I really do appreciate that. All right. So, general energy. Princess of Cups. Well, the Princess of Cups, in some sense, is us wanting to just live in our imagination, right? That, you know, we have this certain fantasy about what we want our life to be, or this kind of, we wish that we can just kind of just sit around and daydream, you know? But we know that we can't. We know that we see the signs, we hear the knock, we hear the call, from spirit, from our destiny, from our higher self, whatever you want to call it. And we know that, I got to get up, got to get dressed, you know. But I think that you're a very creative person. I think that you're a very imaginative person. And there's a difference, right? Because imagination is something, it's a very unique thing. Not everybody really has one, right? You have a very rich imagination. And I think that you could live in your head perfectly comfortably for a long time. You know, very vivid. I think that you're someone who has a very strong ability to visualize. Not a lot of people can visualize. Right? I find it hard. It's something I've had to practice doing. But I feel like you can visualize very, very well. And that's not the same as being creative, though. Because creativity is taking that imagination and having some sort of action to correspond with it, right? Whether it's an activity or a creation or a piece of art or music or writing or some sort of action, even if it's just communication, talking, if it's anything, right? But it's an expression. It's giving expression to that imagination, right? And that's, I think, what we need now. And that might be what your hierophant is leading you toward. Becoming that master who has the imagination but now has the corresponding expression of it. And really, really excelling at something here. But right now it may feel like this very detached kind of process of just doing something, finishing it, and then got to swipe it away and I got to do it again. So maybe these are the cards of practice, right? Maybe it says, okay, I want you to, you know, draw a lifelike picture of a human body, right? Here we go again. You draw it. I don't feel anything. You draw it and it's whatever, it's pretty good. You look at it, you get it critiqued, you get it graded, you look at where you made mistakes, you learn from it. Okay, fine. You crumple it up, throw it away. New sheet of paper, right? That's what we're talking about here. But it's leading you towards some sort of mastery, okay? So that you can take anything that's in your head, in your imagination, and you can give it expression. Now, it doesn't have to be drawing, but what I mean is, if you can see it in your head, you're learning the right skills to bring that to reality, to manifest it. Okay? What is in the environment for you? Oh, that's right. There we go. This is your opposite sign. This is the Devil card. This is the card that rules the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn is your opposite sign. So when I said before that this is... Oh, something fell, scared me. When I say that that this is something that's kind of bringing you out of yourself, right? That our conscious kind of mind or conscious persona doesn't really want to do it all the time. And then there's something else that is, that we feel like, of course, we have to, and this is our path, and I've got to just power through it. That's the devil energy. This is your unconscious will. This is your driving creative force that, that I think you're really becoming aware of these days. This is kind of the idea that, I don't want to go out on these adventures and have all this commotion and have all this dramatic excitement in my life. I just kind of want to stay home and daydream and stay in my robe and take a hot bath and eat ice cream and read books, right? But this is kind of saying that you don't always get the quiet, private, peaceful, reserved background life that you want. This is now, you're out on this quest, on this adventure, and you are, it's kind of like a Clark Kent Superman kind of vibe. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's Dr. Professor Jones and Indiana Jones, right? It's that alter ego. And Dr. Jones wants to just teach class and read books and stay at home and, drink the bourbon or whatever. But then there's Indiana, who's out fighting and swinging from ropes and jumping over pits of snakes and asps and doing all this just wild stuff, right? Jumping out of helicopters and riding motorcycles and boats and just, planes and all these kinds of things. It's just a wild adventure. And I feel like that's the... also, I should point out, Harrison Ford is a Cancer sign. So, shout out to Harrison Ford. I heard that he watches his Cancer readings here. Maybe this one's meant for him. I don't know. But it's the reluctance to do that, even though we know that that's what our work is right now. That is what I need. I think that in general, we all need to find out what is the driving force in our unconscious, and we need to give it expression. We need to allow it to come out, even when my body and mind and heart are tired, and I don't want to go to the gym. I have to summon that unconscious will of mine that can override my, my human conscious personality, right? So you've got this driving force in your environment. It says that you're pushing yourself to do these things, even if they seem routine or monotonous. And you're doing them, right? And you have this creative driving force that is, of course, leading you to mastery. What is the obstacle for you? Well, I would expect this to be some water energy. No, it's not. We still don't. We got some here, but it's the Princess of Cups, right? That's someone that doesn't really want to go out and get sweaty or to do anything strenuous, really, right? But the Three of Pentacles is we know what it takes. We know that we have to put our blood, sweat, and tears into something if it's going to materialize. So we have the combination of the threes here. And it is, I think in this case, it might just be your mind that feels a little kind of humdrum, a little humbug about it. Okay, and I know I'm using the feeling when I'm talking about the mind, and it's intentional. Because I feel like there is this connection between the heart and the mind. It's the heart-mind of the Eastern philosophies, right? It's only, I think, in the Western philosophy that we really try to separate it out. And maybe it's important to separate it out so we understand in a vacuum the way the mind and the heart could function. But in real life, right, It happens together. I'm thinking of something, makes me feel a certain way. I feel a certain way, and I automatically identify it and start thinking about kind of what those associations are, okay? So I think here the difficulty is for you to just kind of get started. But once you get going, this goat gets out of the pen, and it overrides the conscious, intellectual, mental kind of protest, you know? So the Three of Pentacles, and this is a Capricorn energy. This is Mars in Capricorn. This is kind of saying that once the goat can break out of the pen, then it's just off and running. But when the goat's locked up in that, in the fence, it's the worst. And especially for that Capricorn energy, for that devil energy, it's the worst thing ever to be locked up in that pen. So the goat's going to try just goring and butting and getting its horns twisted up in that fence, trying to get free. And that's going to cause us, our conscious human personality, a lot of grief, a lot of anguish. God, why do I feel this way? Why do these weird things, bad things, negative kind of things, Three of Swords kinds of things, why do these things keep happening? Well, they happen because that goat is in your unconscious trying to tear the fence open. So maybe we should sometimes, pull the horns out of the fence so it doesn't hurt itself. Open the fence and let the goat out, right? Because once we do that, everything gets a lot easier. Then we're really in our Wheel of Fortune energy. Things are just rolling smooth. Because the goat's out, the goat's free, and this ball is rolling. Rather than this thing it's like you're trying to start your engine in your car, and it keeps grinding away, but it just won't start. You hear the starter turning, it's just not happening. There's not enough gas getting in or something, right? But as soon as that gas starts flowing, the engine is running smooth, and now there's not that tension in the heart-mind, right? The difficult step is always the first one. Let's see what's coming next. Princess of Pentacles. Look at that. We still don't have a ton of water energy, but the Princess of Pentacles is the manifestation. So really, it is once the ball gets rolling, there's nothing that you can't accomplish. This is the ultimate expression of all of your imagination. The Princess of Cups is going to get everything they want. But we have to go through the process of activating our unconscious driving creative force, our generative force, in order to produce this. And this is everything. And you're learning how to do that, and that's giving you this feeling of really being the master. The hierophant, the master, is the one that understands the process of going from desire to fulfillment of desire, from imagination to creation. See? Creation. This is all of the creative world here. From imagination to creation is the name of the game. Let's look at the mystery card. I want it to be some really happy water energy. I want a 9 or a 10 of cups, or the Chariot, your superpower card. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments. Let's see. Well, it's the 8 of Wands. That's okay. The other thing we don't have here is fire energy. Now we got some fire. And maybe the fire is the swiftness, the ease, the kind of the gentle force now. When that goat is out of the pen, when we've acknowledged its existence in the unconscious and we're allowing it to kind of override and take over our being and kind of override the decision of the conscious human persona or personality. And maybe that is kind of symbolized by us having all of our wands going in the same direction. They're flying through the air with ease toward their target. Yeah. So I think the swiftness of the 8 wands is really us in this process, very smooth. Very smooth. We've learned the secret, and now we're putting all of our energy, all of our efforts. We're not resisting or fighting against it. Now this wheel is turning smooth. It's like the Wheel of Fortune has gotten the grease. The ball bearings are brand new, and this thing is just spinning silently, effortlessly, on and on. If you got a good wheel, good ball bearings, you spin it, it's quiet, and it never slows down. It takes a long time. Do you ever get like a toy or something, and you spin the wheel, a model car or something, you spin the wheel? One of those fidget toys, right? You spin the wheel. It seems like it never slows down. That's the ease that we're experiencing here. If we choose to, to activate some of this energy, I think the Eight of Wands is the perfect confirmation card, because this is showing the smoothness with which we can take our imagination and bring it to creation. Otherwise, these wands are all going in different directions, and it's pokey and yucky, and it feels kind of, it feels kind of prickly, and we don't like that. Okay? If everything is going smoothly and in the same direction, there's less friction, there's less conflict, there's less turmoil, there's less internal strife. See, right now we don't want a 5 or even a 7 or a 9 even of wands. I like that we've got this 8. There's a smoothness to it. Yeah. We're going to do an extended reading too. If you want to stick around, there's a link up top. There's one down below. New readings for Cancer every Tuesday and Friday, 6 a.m. Chicago time. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It is totally free, does not cost anything. And leave a comment for me. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.